What's up, everybody? One Man Smoke back at you. Been a while. Out here at Trimble Tobacco today. Young Tobacco Farmers. Got a lot of stuff going on today. Doing some hauling off some soybean, doing some repairs on the discer. Stripping tobacco. Edition Limitada, 2009. It's Brian out there working on the discer, changing some bearings. Got a couple bad bearings. Been a while since I did an in the car video. Finally starting to cool down, man. This summer was incredibly hot and humid. But been pretty active on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. And a whole lot going on. Smoking this Cuban. Partially Cubans. That's what I like anyway. Here comes Brian.
Got to break out the big gun for that job. That smells good.
Yes, it does smell good. Well, it's cooling down. We've had a few good days here. It's been cool in the morning. It was cool out here when I got out here today. It's I don't know. It was in low 60s. And it's warming up now though. The sun's shining. We're at the Blue Barn right now. We're going to hop out here in a minute and see what's up. Talk to Brian a little bit. Get an update. Ain't much else going on. Raising these chickens. I got a few buff Orpingtons, some Astrolorps, and some Rhode Island Reds. Gonna add a few more to the flock this spring coming up. Got a nice little custom chicken coop built for them. It's a pretty nice setup. Well, looks like he pulled out the big gun. It's gonna get real noisy, so let's pull out and see what's going on. Drinking some coffee today. Some OMS house blend. You know where to get it. OneManScoffee.com. Tell you what, I don't like gourmet, the wording of gourmet, but it's just, I'll just say it's premium coffee, man. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, come grab a bag if you haven't tried it. I highly recommend it. I drink it. It's the nectar of life for me. That's what I call it. Got the whole crew in here stripping. All 6 guys. Migrant workers. They come up here. I think for some of them, a couple of them, like Luciano, he's been up here. I think this is his 3rd year. So they're becoming veterans. I think there's 2, 3, 4 guys maybe that are, it's their 1st year. He's a couple guys anyway. I'm not sure exactly how many, but good guys. They live up here on the property and stay up here, and they got a little house down the road, down where Brian's grandfather used to live, where that's where they're staying, in a little house there. It's down by the creek barn. If you look at, I think it was my last video, creek barn down there. It's nice. Let's hop out and see what Brian's doing.
"20-inch blades on my disc."
20s. He's rocking the 20s.
I got a kick out of that when that music song first came out that said 20-inch blades. I'm thinking, oh, they got disc blades on an Impala.
Yeah.
My cousin had an Impala. Has an Impala, 65.
Yeah.
4-door, 283.
So
It has 13-inch wires on it though. You ever heard that Johnny Cash song, "One Piece at a Time"?
I reckon so.
He talks about working in the Cadillac plant, and he decided that he was going to steal a Cadillac, one piece at a time. So he smuggled out small pieces in his lunchbox and other pieces in the back of his buddy's van. Finally, he got all the pieces. So one night, him and his buddy started putting it together in his garage. Well, turns out he had pieces spanning 3 different decades from working at the GM factory. So when he put this car together, all the parts didn't match. So he had to drill out some holes and get an adapter kit for the engine and the transmission to make it all work.
So what we doing? What we doing here? We have got a couple bad bearings.
We have removed the gang nut and the washer, and then we have systematically disassembled the gang one piece at a time, and I've laid them in a certain order so I can get it put back together right.
Yeah, this is the gang nut.
But to get to the bearing that's bad, I got to strip the whole gang. There it is. These are the flanges. That is the outer race of the bearing. The inner race of the bearing. And what's left of the seal is stuck on the spool. There it is. right. Go ahead and strip that down.
Where are the bad bearings at? They're all fought out?
Yeah, the balls are in the field.
So there's what's remaining of the casing that held them in place.
Yep. This is the gang bolt.
That's the gang bolt.
1.25 inches square. So now we're going to find a wire brush and clean all these pieces up.
And if you ever want to break something loose, this here, right here.
That's the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Heading into the stripping room, also known as the Blue Barn. And if you look up there, it's all about that pride in tobacco. Pride in tobacco. We've got 500-pound bales.
650s.
650.
A couple of years ago, they raised the requirement on bale weights.
Bubba's baler.
Now, you're going to see Jose and Jamie dumping totes into #1 press. Well, those are the leaves that they stripped from the bottom of the stalk, which is the #1 grade. You're going to see Luciano and Pedro.
Luciano up there. Luciano.
They're loading #2 with #2s that they stripped. And then Alonzo and Adrian are loading #3 with the leaves that they stripped. So basically this wagon is empty. They put all the dead stalks in the manure spreader.
And that's going to the field.
That'll go to the field. That'll become organic matter for next season.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the leaves, they've been sort of stockpiling in these trash cans and totes, just whatever odd assortment of containers we've provided. And since this wagon is empty, they're going to dump all their totes, they're going to press, and they're probably going to tie a few bales. And they'll put the bales.
Some done over there.
They'll put the bales on pallets and they'll roll them back there with the others, and then they'll record the weights up here on the notepad. It's been really nice this year having some guys with some experience. I haven't had to do very much teaching this year. I've let those men with the experience teach the new guys, their friends.
How many new guys you got this year?
We have 2 new guys this year. And we've been stripping. I'm going to say this is our 5th or 6th day of stripping. The barn up at Wheeler's that you videoed when we were housing is now empty. This is the last load of that barn.
It came in a case quick, huh?
We got a little bit of rain for a couple of days, and we put down for 2 straight days. And that's sort of the name of the game. When you get that right condition, you put a bunch down, then you can work on it. It's not in case today. You were in Libby's barn earlier. It's crispy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Can't put that down. But they're hollering rain Wednesday night, so I'm guessing Thursday morning, be go time. So they'll probably strip this big wagon back here before the day is over, and then we'll probably be shut down until Thursday when they get some more down. We need a bearing. Dad and I have been building shelves. All of this miscellaneous tools and parts will soon have a home on these shelves. That's the idea.
That's a beautiful thing. Wall-to-wall backer. Oh, foxtail.
The bearings for the disc cost about $38. And as you can see, I have some extra inventory of flanges. You'll see there's a grease zerk on this flange, and then I have some new bearings. And there's a groove in this bearing.
We packed grease in it.
And there's a pinhole in that groove.
Right.
So that the grease actually goes in where the balls are.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what's called a sealed bearing. So we put grease in it every time before we use it, and then when it fails, we don't have any choice but to swap it out for another bearing. I'm probably just going to put a new set of flanges on while I'm in there. And the old flanges, if there's nothing wrong with them, I'll just hang on to them. But that old bearing's toast.
Just in case you might need one you ain't got the part.
Exactly. These are bearings for one of my other discs, courtesy of another Alice Chalmers collector out in Missouri. This part is no longer available, or if you can find it at a dealer, it's $300 and some.
Those look like pretty good bearings.
Well, these are new old stock, so these were on this guy's shelf for 30 years or more. And I've got a bearing out on that disc. I need to get it in here and put this in.
That's a good find right there. What do those cost you?
He asked that I pay him the price of one brand new one, which was $305 for the pair of NOS bearings, which I thought was reasonable. There's still an original Alice Chalmers sticker on there. I'm going to guess 1960s era. I hear number one running. All three of them are running. Now, when we first started running 3 balers, we had a shortage of electrical current. Well, we now have a service to this building, a dedicated service to this building, and our breaker panel is not very far from our balers. So now we got enough power, we can run all 3 balers at the same time. Not a leaf can. As you can see, they've got numerous containers to put leaf in while we're stripping. And they have figured out that it's more efficient to keep stripping until you run out of wagon or run out of containers. When we first started this process, we would dump the containers frequently. But there's a loss of efficiency that occurs there, and I didn't even tell them that. They figured it out on their own.
Got the big guns out today.
I totally forgot to bring the wire brush. There goes the semi. With load number 2.
Soy.
The semi driver, it has been contracted to simply haul the beans to town. Well, the semi driver is also a classmate of my dad's from when he was a boy. They went all the way through school together. They're good friends. And he was going to haul some beans for the neighbor, and so my dad said, well, I'll just bring my big auger over, that way you can get filled up quicker. They have a barge in Madison right now, and they're taking soybeans. They don't always take soybeans in Madison, so we're going to capitalize on this opportunity to haul them 12 miles instead of 45 to Jeffersonville or more.
Yeah, I remember about 2 or 3 years ago you took them over there.
Yeah, if Madison ain't taking them, your options are Aurora, Indiana, or Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Well, that's convenient. And Madison's what, 10 minutes?
12 miles.
Yeah.
12 miles from here to Madison. And he went and dumped and came back, and he's full, and he's heading out with the second load, and it ain't even lunch.
How many nautical miles are we from the Ohio River?
Oh, 5 or 6.
Yeah, we're real close.
It might be closer on this side because it wraps around Trimble County almost in a 90-degree arc. Yeah, he's going to capitalize on that opportunity, and I think after lunch he's going to fire up the gleaner there and go up the road and run that patch of beans.
That'd be the gleaner sitting right there.
Well, that's the second gleaner.
The one that's not burnt up.
The first one burnt. I saw in my time hop from last year. It was just a couple of days ago, or maybe today. I don't know. I saw pictures on my time hop. I think
a few mice might have perished in that fire.
Yeah, it's hard to say. There have been 3 combines that I know of burned this year, and this year's not as dry as last year. So apparently there are a few combines that burn every year.
Yeah, what's starting them?
That dry material. There's also a widely held theory about static electricity. So you're shelling that grain off, and it's going against metal parts inside the combine, and it builds up static electricity, which could create a spark.
Sits there and smolders.
You ever seen an ambulance dragging chains?
Yeah.
I ain't so sure we shouldn't be dragging a chain under that combine. Somebody else is going to have to tell him, though, because he won't listen to me.
Lovely. Get your angle right. Good tools right here. Speed squares.
I was looking for a wire brush. Might slap that thing together without one hammer on it, that impact all on.
Tanto como Frederico. Que se me amontonen porque no le den tan feo. ¿Se amontan así? Está bien, a veces se llama colmillo. Siento.
Ya vi ayer.
Ya lo ves. Venga, rápido, a algún lado.
Nope. That's better. That disc been running with that bearing out for a little while. See how it's damaged that spool?
Yeah.
But it hasn't compromised the length.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as the length hasn't changed, that's just cosmetic.
Mm-hmm.
But I have run one long enough to wear that off.
Mm.
Then you gotta order a spool. Nope. That's better. Backing plate. Engineers at Alice Chalmers put these backing plates behind every blade to give it a little extra support. Full spool. One end is concave and one end is convex, and so you need to turn that so that it mates up correctly with the blades.
Concave and?
That's convex.
Is it?
And that's concave. I'm looking at the rim.
I can't hardly tell. They're so funky. Oh, it is.
What do you think?
Let me see that.
I think I've got it right. Backing plate. Blade. Now we're ready to mate up to another bearing. So we'll get the long spool first. Bearing and flanges. Another spool. It's got a little damage, but it's not bad. Backing plate. Blade. Full spool. Looks good.
When's market opening up?
We got a postcard from One Market and said that we can call on November 15th and they will start receiving on November 30th. We have yet to hear from our primary market.
And they're not doing out of Carrollton anymore. It's, where is it, Mount Sterling?
Well, we've got one in Springfield, Kentucky and another one in Maysville, Kentucky. Last year we hired a tractor trailer with a box van to take the majority of it, and we did haul a couple of loads ourselves with the gooseneck, but it's a long way and it's
it's a heavy
when
load.
you take that gooseneck on that pickup truck, you're pushing your luck.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big and it's heavy. Can you steady that for a second?
Even though you got a dually, that's a hell of a load.
I mean, this old truck here used to pull them, but the frame's got a little rusty spot and we were a little afraid to chance it, and so that's when he upgraded to the 01 Duramax down there, and it's had its share of mechanical problems too. I mean, we never really had any mechanical problems out of the Dodge except for it would eat ball joints about every 100,000 miles because that Cummins is heavy. Now I'm going to turn on the air compressor and let it build up to 150 psi.
It eats up the air.
Shut it off so we can talk.
General Pneumatic.
It's down to 50 pounds right now, but it won't be. I just had a moment of panic because I thought I put that together wrong. Some of the gangs have that second bearing here. And I just looked at that other side of the machine and I've got it put together right. But when I took it apart, I laid them out in order, so it increased the odds of me not messing up.
Unless you put them on wrong the first time.
It'd be nice, or it's not uncommon to have to take it back apart after you get it tight. Let that air catch up, hammer it again. There's a spec in the book that says 780 foot-pounds for that nut. I really don't know how many this is.
I think that's beyond any torque.
We don't have anything else in the shop that'll do that. He just got this last year. We were doing that with like sockets and stuff, but we had to get big long pipes, and I twisted the square part out of my breaker bar doing that. We'll let that air catch up. We'll do that one more time. Then we'll put the jam nut on and tighten it down. This nut just keeps that other one from getting loose. I think they're making a bale. I just heard a pallet.
You gonna pull up with this?
Yeah.
He'd bleed that tank off. You got that ratchet, air ratchet?
They got a new fresh load.
There's about 1,000, maybe 1,100 sticks of tobacco on there. That'll probably hold in the rest of the day.
Stripping.
And that's the last load we've got ready. And it's too dry to take any more down right now. But there is a chance of rain on Wednesday. So possibly Thursday morning, it'll be in the right kind of shape to take some more down. That's the situation we run into in October particularly, is we have to work with the weather. So on days like today when it's dry, with this ground, we'll combine soybeans. And then on days like Wednesday or Thursday, hopefully it'll be rainy and gray and nasty. That'd be perfect for taking tobacco down. And we have already positioned a half a dozen wagons in the next 2 barns that we plan to take down, so that all these men need to do is take that van, go to said barn, and load the wagons.
And why is that perfect conditions?
When it's rainy, when it's cloudy, the humidity in the air, we need the humidity in the air to be about 70% for about a 12-hour period to make the tobacco pliable. If it's 90% humidity for 12 hours, sometimes the tobacco gets too wet and we have to stop for that reason. So far this season it hasn't been a problem because it's been pretty dry since we started harvest. So,
And if you want to know where that Burley comes in that you put in that pipe right there, Young Tobacco Farmers, Bedford, Kentucky. That's what's up.
smells good.
That's a beautiful thing, brother. When do you reckon them hoodies will be for sale?
Well, I had enough made.
We got inquiries.
I had enough of them made to cover me and my wife and the crew that we had last year. And I have yet to see anybody don the one that they were given last year. But today, it may be the first day where you've needed one. I think it was about 38 this morning when I got up. Well, we're in mid to late October. All the burley is hanging in the barn. Some of it's ready to strip, and we've already emptied this barn out and the little barn next door. Take the burley down, load it up on the wagons, bundle the sticks and palletize them, and the burley is being stripped as we speak down at the blue barn and pressed into 650-pound bales. Leaves are sorted into 3 different categories and made into 3 different types of bales. And the stalks are being put in a manure spreader to be scattered back out on the field for organic matter for next season. And we have to work with the weather. If we get some rain and have a foggy morning, the tobacco becomes pliable, or we like to call it in order, so it can be taken down without damaging the tobacco. If it's a day like it is today, tobacco cannot be taken down. It's too dry, it's too brittle. But this is an ideal day for harvesting soybeans, and this is also an ideal day for disking up tobacco stobs. So my dad is on the combine running soybeans, and I'm on the disc. We're going to disc up the tobacco stobs, and our objective is to plant a cover crop of wheat so that this field will be covered in a beautiful green carpet throughout the winter months until next spring when we plow it down and start a new crop. 50 sticks in a bundle, and on this particular skid we have 25 bundles, which is 1,250 sticks. The records from harvest this season indicate that we churned out about 1,350 sticks per bundle, or per acre. So this pallet of sticks represents roughly 1 acre of tobacco, and that's what I came in here to see, was how many were actually in here. That one's only 4 deep, so that's 1,000 sticks. So I've got 2,250. 500 there. 2,750. And 1,000 there. 3,750 in this barn. We'll go down that little barn and see how many's down there. The old barn survived another season. Did a little bit of work on this corner back here. Took a jack and raised it up and set it back on that rock. Looks like it's still a little low. Perhaps in the off season we'll be able to do some work on that. Did a hasty repair the day that we hung it before we started putting tobacco in. feel like it's leaning to the east a little. This morning, they're working on that large one now. Those 2 wagons represent that entire barn full of tobacco. So when they took it down, they loaded the wagons, they bundled the sticks, put them on the pallet, and then my dad hitched those 2 wagons to his Dodge truck and took them to the stripping room. And sometime later this evening, I'll know exactly 35 bundles of sticks and how many pounds.